Hey yo, how's it going guys? SixftHax here, bringing y'all today the first part of my Brawl for All pool matches, and I guess the little draft analysis for that too. So I'm probably going to do this in two separate parts. So this is going to be the analysis and my first battle, and then part two is going to be my last two battles. Now for those of you who don't know what Brawl for All is, it's just a bunch of people coming together for like a tournament style thing. I know one of my buddies, Johnny GB, actually runs the whole thing, I think, if I'm not mistaken. Him and somebody else, I'm pretty positive, run the whole thing, which is really cool because, again, there's just so many cool draft league players in the pool and a bunch of new people that you can get to meet. So I decided to join. Typically 8-mon format is really not something I enjoy a lot, but I figured, hey, why not just kind of join for the heck of it. So if you do enjoy this, hit that thumbs up button down below. Little timestamp should be on the screen for you guys to go ahead and get to the first battle and skip that team builder portion as well. So yeah, again, just gonna do this in two parts, mainly because I didn't want to upload something that would be like an hour long, and I don't know if you guys would like to see that. Maybe if I join another tournament like this in the future, then I guess I can put it together in an hour if y'all enjoy it, or if y'all would enjoy it like that. Just let me know. But for right now, I'm gonna do it in two parts, so I hope y'all don't mind. So this will be the first part. Part two should be going up in a couple hours later today, so you get two uploads, which is pretty cool, I guess. So yeah, plus it's Saturday, so yeah, watch both, because why not? So the way that this works is that there's a bunch of different pools. It's you and 9 other people in one pool, and then each pool has their own mons to draft from, and you can only get 8 mons as opposed to 11. So yeah, again, not a big fan of 8-mon format, but it is what it is. I figured, hey, why not gain some more experience from it? So yeah, so we drafted. I was number 4. I was able to get a little lucky, and I got Celesteela, pick number 4 here, as you can see, which is really cool. Celesteela is one of the very few mons I've never got to use in draft league format. I don't technically count this as actually using it, mainly because it's not a real draft league. So yeah, it's gonna be fun to kind of get some battles with it, see how exactly good it really is, because I praise this thing, a lot of people praise this thing, and it's an absolute monster to deal with as well. So after the drafting, we get into our own battle pools, where it's round robin, you and 4 other people. So you have to do 4 games, and the 2 people with the highest records move out of pools. Now notice that I mentioned it was only going to be 3 battles. That is because one person in our pool was basically MIA the entire time, and she never said one single word. So everybody just got an auto forfeit win at the end of the deadline. So yeah, that's pretty cool. But yeah, again, got Celesteela, very awesome Pokemon. For those of you who may watch Draft League, you know what Celesteela does. I know what Celesteela does, but I never got to use it myself. It can be fat and offensive, which is really cool. Awesome coverage, also one of our Z-mons. Next off, we have a mon that I am very comfortable with, which is Hydreigon. Although, I don't think Hydreigon is necessarily the best Pokemon around. I just got it because it's so many roles in one. It's a dragon, a dark type, a ground immunity, gets me momentum, and it has defog, which is really nice. Plus, its coverage options, offensively wise, are absolutely amazing. So yeah, really felt like Hydreigon was a solid pick to pair up with my Celesteela here. Next off, I got Reuniclus. We know what Reuniclus does. It can be Trick Room offensive, it can be mono setup, double dance basically with like acid armor, iron defense, and calm mind. And in 8-mon format, there is always certain types of Pokemon that you're not going to be able to get on your draft. So if any draft does not have a dark type, then Reuniclus can basically just win on its own right. So yeah, that's the main reason why I wanted to try and get this round 3. Actually, I think these should be in the order I drafted them. I'm not entirely too sure actually, but it's not that big of an issue. Next off, I decided to get my ground type in the form of Nidoking because a Nidoqueen had been taken. Regardless though, Nidoking is still really cool. I used this in P4G when it was tier 3 and below, and we were able to win that season, and Nidoking was an absolute nightmare. Plus, offensively wise, with Sheer Force, it's very difficult to switch into Nidoking, especially with all its coverage. Plus, it has access to rocks and T-spikes, which can come in very, very handy potentially. So really happy to try and use Nidoking once again. And next off, I decided to get Deontay here, which is another pretty cool mon. This gives me my second Stealth Rocker, also gives me my Fairy typing for my Dragon and Steel mons over here. And the main thing about Deontay too is that this is also my next Z-mon, because we had point value, so I got Celesteela and Deontay as my Z-mon. So this means that Trick Room offensive Deontay, or even potentially like Rock Polish Z Deontay, could be something scary for my opponents to deal with. It does not necessarily have the best move pull around, but typically Diamond Storm, Earth Power, and Power Gem can hit just about everything decently hard, and then if one of those is Z'd, then obviously that is an instant nuke. Plus, it's stupidly bulky. Like, base 150 defenses is absolutely insane. So, very happy to have picked up Deontay here. Next off, I got my boy Regular Tortuga, aka Blastoise. Not Mega Blastoise, regular Blastoise. Mainly because this was in tier 5. I've never seen a tier 5 Blastoise, and as soon as I saw tier 5 Blastoise, I was like, yeah, I want that. So I was able to work it in on my squad here. But yeah, this is my bulky water. Also some nice hazard control, and I guess priority as well with Fake Out and Aqua Jet, which isn't that bad. Offensively wise, it doesn't hit entirely too strong. Like base 85 special attack is nothing to be amazed by, but its coverage moves are still really good. Aura Sphere, Dark Pulse, Dragon Pulse, although it doesn't have Mega Launcher like Mega Blastoise, that coverage can still come in very, very handy. And then obviously we have Roar and Haze for setup, Rapid Spin for support, and Scald is Scald, which is a broken move. So yeah, our next mon is going to be a Mega I've actually never used before, and that is Mega Manectric. I don't really like Mega Manectric. I don't really think it's that good of a Mega in general, but I needed the extra points and there was nothing else on my team that I could really fit over. Plus Mega Manectric, I believe in 8-mon format does seem slightly better than a regular 11-mon format, just because again there's limited answers and there's limited certain types that the person can draft, and Mega Manectric's coverage moves are pretty decent. Flamethrower, Overheat against Signal Beam, Hidden Power, Thunderbolt, and Volt Switch obviously are really nice, and then Toxic for something super bulky. And then the final mon is going to be Decidueye, mainly because I needed a grass type and I wanted to have another form of hazard removal. Plus Decidueye is really cool in the sense that it can set up both physically and specially, and that can play mind games in my matchups. It does get access to some nice priority with Shadow Sneak and Sucker Punch, momentum with U-turn, and then Tailwind for some potential speed control. Spirit Shackle is also really nice if I want to force something to stay in on my Decidueye, and then that way I can gain momentum off of it. So yeah, that is our squad. Let's get into the first battle. Alright, so before I get into the actual little builder before the match, this is my pool right here. We have H. Colin from the Hive, we have myself from UCL, Bridget was MIA, this is the person that never showed up, so we all got a instant forfeit win at the end of the deadline. We have Fizzle, which is our actual first opponent here, and then we have iPro from the Hive. So we are going to be facing off against Fizzle here, and honestly, I didn't really spend a lot of time building for most of these games. So there was certain things I completely overlooked when it came to the battles themselves that may come into play in the actual matches, but we will see what happens. So first game here, I realized that my opponent does not have a dark type. Instantly, Double Dance for Uniclus came to mind. That pretty much just wins. The only issue with that though is that Gardevoir could be running the Encore, which would be a little bit annoying. Also, he could have Whimsicott with Encore as well, so have to be careful with those two mons. Otherwise, if Reuniclus has a chance to just freely set up, it basically just wins. Alomomola is super annoying to deal with because it's really fat and bulky, so I have to be careful with that. Deblade could maybe come this match, although realistically I don't think it does entirely too much, so I don't expect him to want to bring this, and he more than likely is going to leave either Rotom Frost or Whimsicott. I figured that Rotom Frost might have the better matchup out of itself and Whimsicott, just because if you look at my squad, nothing really switches in comfortably to Blizzard plus Thunderbolt or Volt Switch, and it is one of his Z-Mon, so I have to watch out for that. Nihilego could be a little scary late game, but I just have to ensure that my Nidoking is healthy enough and I should be able to deal with Nihilego accordingly. And then Landorus is Landorus. It does anything that it basically wants to do in this game. As long as he's not something crazy, then I should be able to deal with it accordingly. And then Infernape is an Infernape. So let's take a look at the squad that I brought here real quick. So first off, we have Trick Room, Rockium, Z, Deontay here. This basically just wins if I can bring it in properly or if I can weaken that Alomomola. The reason why I have Diamond Storm as opposed to Power Gem is because Diamond Storm does way more damage to Gardevoir, and if I get rid of Gardevoir, that means I'm most likely get rid of the one answer that he has for my Double Dance Reuniclus, and then Reuniclus can come in and potentially win on its own. So yeah, offensively this thing is very difficult for him to deal with, plus this can still pivot into most of his mons and tank hits just because of how ridiculously bulky Deontay really is. Next off, we have Akaberry, Autotomize, Celesteela here, mainly for Scarfed and Infernape. If I can get off an Autotomize once the Alomomola has been weakened or toxic, then that means Celesteela could potentially end up winning me the battle here. Even though Scarfed and Infernape does outspeed me, we can eat a hit with the Akaberry and our HP investment, and then in return knock it out with the Air Slash, Heavy Slam, and Flamethrower along with Air Slash, should hit everything for neutral or super effective damage, which is good enough for me. I don't really need to run a non-minus attack nature just because Heavy Slam is still doing a lot of damage to the things I'm going to be hitting it with. Next off, we have very bulky Manectric here. And the main reason I brought a very bulky Manectric is because I just need enough speed to outspeed his Infernape, in which case I can then run a lot of HP to be able to potentially pivot into certain offensive moves, and I felt like that was way more beneficial to me than just having some extra raw power from a modest nature. So yeah, set's very self-explanatory. This hits everything basically, like everything's gonna be taking decent damage except for the Nihilego. That's the only thing I don't do damage to, but that is why I have a very bulky offensive Nidoking here, unless he is running Psychic, which I think we can actually take one depending on what exactly he is running. Then Nidoking will be able to just obliterate it with an Earth Power. This is also kind of my pseudo answer to Rotom Frost, so I have to be very careful with Rotom Frost. But yeah, this just hits everything with its coverage moves, and then Toxic is really just for Alomomola. If it wasn't for Nihilego, I would gladly run T-Spikes, but I definitely expect him to want to bring that. Next up, we have Reuniclus. This can also deal with the Nihilego potentially, as well as being able to Iron Defense, Calm Mind, and just sweep through my opponent's team if he is not prepared for it. This is actually supposed to be Calm, not Bold. Yeah, this was Calm Nature in the actual battle itself. So very cool mon, hoping Reuniclus can actually win me the game, because again, like the fact that my opponent doesn't have a Dark type, Reuniclus should be able to just kind of solo his entire team if it really comes down to it. So that's what I'm going to try and play towards in this game. And then finally off, we have Choice Scarf Hydreigon as some type of speed control, plus there is a chance he might just want to run a timid max speed Gardevoir, so this way we can always outspeed it and U-turn on the potential switch in against it. And then Toxic is just nice to be able to maybe catch Alomomola on the switch in. So as I mentioned, I kind of threw these teams together really quickly and I overlooked a couple things. For example, I don't have rocks on this team, and I didn't realize I didn't have stealth rocks until the actual battle itself. So yeah, let's get into the game. Alright guys, so this is going to be my first match of my pool games for the Brawl for All this year, I guess. I think it's only like a yearly thing. I don't know. Maybe it'll happen again later in this year. But for now, this is going to be the first game. Now, I will be uploading my other pool battles later today in a different video, just because I didn't want them to all be put together and just come out like an hour-long video for you guys. So yeah, I hope y'all don't mind. But this is going to be game number 1, and there is no game number 4 because one of the people in our pool was basically MIA, so we all just got a forfeit win. So yeah, only 3 games. So this will be game 1, and then the second upload today is going to be game 2 and 3. So if we can go positive, we basically are able to make it out of a pool, and we go into the bracket rounds, which is single elimination, and then you just kind of keep playing until you lose basically. So yeah, I think that's pretty cool. But yeah, if y'all do enjoy this, hit that thumbs up button down below, and we can go ahead and look at our opponent's team here. See, we're facing Fizzle. He does upload, if I'm not mistaken. He does do a bunch of different draft league stuff on his channel, so I'll make sure to link him down in the description below. I've seen a couple of videos, very solid player. So looking at the matchup once again here, the scariest thing I have to face is most likely Landorus, just because I don't know what set it could be running. I should have maybe put Shuckleberry on something like maybe my Deontay, but it is what it is. Offensive Trick Room Deontay can basically just win once I weaken Alomomola. If I can bring it in Trick Room, Alomomola is low enough, I knock him out, and then we can go from there. Reuniclus also just wins if this is not Encore Gardevoir, which I think is very likely to come just because it's only one of his real best answers for Reuniclus. If this is Scarf Rotom Frost, it most likely will have Trick as well to try and deal with my Reuniclus, so I have to be careful with the Rotom if it is in against my Reuniclus. The Heligo leg game could be a little scary if my Celesteela or Nidoking are weakened, so have to watch out for that. And then Infernape, I'm not entirely too sure what it could be running this game. Scarf makes a lot of sense for my Celesteela, just because if it is autotomized, Celesteela could also basically win a late game. So yeah, with that being said, let's go ahead and get this started. I decided to lead off with my Hydreigon, considering that I figured I had a good lead matchup against anything he wanted to lead with, and I was just going to be straight out aggressive and go for the Draco on the off chance that he did want to leave in his Landorus, thinking that I would expect his Gardevoir to come in. But he does make a safe switch into the Alomomola, which just eats this Draco Meteor like it's nothing. So I'm going to be forced to switch out here as I bring in my Manectric. He's going to pull a nice double switch into his Landorus. If I really wanted to, I could have gone for the Hidden Power Ice, but I still don't know what this Landorus is running, as he decides to go for the Earthquake and break the background. I bring in my Celesteela, and now I'm thinking, well, there's no reason that he's gonna stay in against my Celesteela, right? So he most likely is gonna try and switch out into something like Alomomola potentially, or try to bring in his Nihilego. So what I'm gonna try and do is pull a double switch into my Nidoking to hopefully get up my Stealth Rocks. Unfortunately though, I don't have rocks on my Nidoking, which I didn't realize up until this moment in the battle. And then it turns out that he has Gravity. So yeah, this is actually really bad. I did not expect him to bring Gravity Landers because I didn't put a lot of time into this build, and it just never crossed my mind. And if it had crossed my mind, then I might have ran Shucka Berry on something else, or on something on my team in general. So yeah, this is super bad because in Gravity, I actually do not have a switch in whatsoever to this thing. So I'm forced into Hydreigon so I can force him out, as in comes the Alomomola that does nothing. And I guess in hindsight, what I could have done is gone for the Toxic here, because it also covered him potentially trying to bring in Gardevoir, and I needed to get rid of Gardevoir for my Reuniclus in the first place. So yeah, I think Toxicing there might have actually been a lot better for me, because if I could put this Alomomola on a timer, then this matchup would have been a whole lot easier. And you guys are going to see that not only Landorus is a giant threat, but this Alomomola is the most annoying thing to freaking break through. So I hard switch into my Manectric as he pulls a double switch into his Rotom Frost. I can live any hit he wants to go for. If he's not Scarfed, which it does turn out that he is, then I outspeed him and obliterate him with an Overheat, as he does a really good chunk of damage with that Blizzard. I'm able to absolutely annihilate him with the Overheat, as in comes the Infernape. I don't want to risk this being Scarfed, so I'm going to make an aggressive switch directly into my Deontay, because he most likely is going to either go for Rocks, Close Combat, or Flare Blitz, all of which my Deontay can come in very easily against, as he does end up going for the Mach Punch there. He's going to be forced to switch out, and if I had Rocks on Deontay here, would have been great to get them up right now, but unfortunately I don't have Rocks on anything, and that's really bad because I don't get chip damage on anything on his team, and this Alomomola is just free to keep switching in and out as much as it wishes. So I bring in my Reuniclus here, just not fearing anything Alomomola wanted to do, and I'm going to pull a double switch into my Celesteela and then pull another switch into my Manectric. Because Celesteela came in as Gardevoir came in, I knew he wouldn't stay in with Gardevoir, so by doubling out into my Manectric on his very obvious Alomomola switch-in, that could give me some type of momentum. And unfortunately my Celesteela does not have Leech Seed, so I can't just freely Leech Seed here. I really wish I had actually brought a more defensive Celesteela, as that would have been more beneficial to me in this match. As I make the very obvious play and go for the Volt Switch, he does make an aggressive switch into Landorus, and the fact that he was willing to risk Landorus like this should have automatically told me that he had the Yache Berry, and I'm just gonna kind of be dumb and not really care and stay in and go for Hidden Power Ice, as he knocks me out with the Earthquake. Alternatively, another reason why I stayed in as well was because he could have potentially gone for Gravity, thinking I would want to switch, so at least by going for the Yache Berry, I got off some damage on the Landorus, but my Air Slash is not quite enough to finish him off, as he does severely weaken my Celesteela here. In comes the Infernape, Revenge kills me, as in comes the Gardevoir, but this does give me a chance to bring in my Deontay, and I make a bit of a dumb play here, and I go straight for my Z move. Like, yeah, I crit Alomomola, but it's nowhere near in range of anything that I have is going to be able to knock him out. So I'm going to try and bring in my Reuniclus in hopes that maybe I can start setting up, or that I can try and play around his Mons to the point where I can just get rid of the Gardevoir and try to put myself in a good position. So I go for the Calm Mind as he brings in his Gardevoir here on my recover. The Encore I still feel is very, very obvious, so I'm going to make a switch right into my Deontay as he does reveal to have the Encore. This is actually not that bad, because if I can maybe stall him out of Encores, then that allows my Reuniclus to potentially still be able to set up. So that's definitely a path that I am willing to take in this game, as Diamond Storm does literally nothing to Alomomola. I was hoping he would go for the knockoff here instead of the liquidation, but him going for liquidation was still not a bad play, because he knew that he could hit me for super effective damage, and the only thing that has an item on my team is Hydreigon, so I guess there was really no use for him going for the knockoff there. As I catch the incoming Nihilego on the double, I'm going to be aggressive here, go for the Psychic, see what this Gardevoir wants to do to me as he goes for the Hyper Voice, and I'm just going to take this chance to start recovering up here for a couple of turns, also trying to stall him out of any type of offensive moves, or hoping that he would eventually go for the Encore, and then that way he would waste another Encore, as I do bring in my Deontay on one of the Encores. This is really nice for me because now I can just go ahead and potentially Moonblast the incoming Alomomola, trying to do any type of damage that I can, and then I'm going to be cheeky and go for the Power Gem, not Power Gem, sorry, Diamond Storm, expecting Gardevoir to come in, and getting off this damage on Gardevoir is really huge because now there's no way that this Gardevoir is going to be able to stop my Reuniclus from potentially winning this battle. But I ended up making a really big misplay here, and I didn't realize this until near the end of the battle, because what I should have done in this turn was actually gone for the Trick Room. This way I could guarantee not only outspeed the Gardevoir the following turn, but if I forced him out into Alomomola, that gave my Reuniclus a chance to come in, and for at least 2 turns in the Trick Room, I'm still faster than his team. So if I had been able to get up in Iron Defense and a Calm Mind, at that point I could potentially just start spamming Psychic, and then Reuniclus can either win me the game or severely weaken his team to the point where Scarfed Hydreigon wins me the game. So yeah, this is probably the one play I really regret making in this battle, because as you're about to see, in comes Nihilego, and this all just kind of goes downhill for me because I don't have Earth Power on Hydreigon. I didn't consider it whatsoever. I should have had it over Toxic actually, instead of having Toxic, because as you can see here, my Reuniclus is not going to be able to eat any hit from this thing, and then it turns out that he's not even Scarfed, so Earth Power would have potentially been able to knock him out if I had also brought Stealth Rocks, but I guess hindsight's 2020 and it is what it is. So unfortunately we start off our pool battles 0-1. Hopefully we can bounce back, because if we go positive, then we can make it out of the pool and then go on to the elimination portion of the Brawl for All tournament. So yeah, if you guys did enjoy this, you know what to do. Hit that thumbs up button down below, and I will see you all in a couple hours with my next pool matches in a different video. So yeah, again, if you would like me to keep these all together in one video, then I can definitely do that for the future if I join the Brawl for All again, or something similar to the Brawl for All. But just again, I didn't want to have like an hour-long video for you guys, and I don't know if you guys would have liked that. But yeah, let me know in the comment section below, and I'll see y'all later today.